because the world's so jacked up, is the ethical ideal that Jesus presented us with livable for us today?
Right.
Right? Like, I think that's essentially the question, particularly around violence. Because Jesus definitely sets it up like the eye for an eye passage, the one that you just quoted, Molly, on the Sermon on the Mount, is Old Testament, Leviticus something. I would have to look it up, chapter and verse. But it was like in the Latin, it's the lex talionis, meaning like the eye for eye passage. It was a limiting device because vengeance has a tendency to take place. So the way that they would say it is like, if someone took your eye, you can only take an eye. You can't take an eye and an arm, right? Like, so already the Old Testament is setting a trajectory in a very violent age of like limiting violence. Right? So like that's already the situation we're here. It wasn't prescriptive. Oh, that person took your eye, so you must go take their eye. It was like it held down the violence. And so, but then Jesus comes along and then he shifts it even more. And I think part of at least my language around nonviolence, or at least in the Christian tradition, it's called Christian pacifism, is that the issue with it is that it's so damn passive, and like, if you know me, I'm not a passive person. Like you've already heard me just be loud already. And that's pretty much how I operate most of the time. And so, like Ken and I were just talking about some things, and I'm like, I look for a fight, like particularly like most fights, like I will look for it. And so that was partially always my issue. And so then I think a lot of the reasons that people want to say that is like, well, Christians aren't supposed to just not act and do something and just let evil people continually do evil. And that's actually where that passage where Jesus is talking about the eye for an eye and the turn the other cheek is so, so incredible. Where I can't go into the whole story now, but it's actually a way to non-violently resist. All of those stories. He says, if someone slaps you on the left cheek, give them the right as well. Walk with them the extra mile, give them the cloak. Like, he has all of these things. These were all acts of nonviolent resistance to oppressive systems of his day. And if you are curious about it, I'll put a link in the show notes to a guy named Walter Wink that did a bunch of really awesome biblical stuff on those passages. But all that to say is, but I think I just think this is such a wild thing that we would do this with violence. The world is so damn violent. Is Jesus's way practical? Imagine if we did that with anything else of the Jesus life. The world is so damn sexual. Does he really mean like monogamy?
I think we do that. Yeah.
Yes. What I'm saying is though that like we do that, but for some reason with the violence thing, there's less cognitive dissonance with it. Where I think that most people will be like,
Christians,
with
a lot of those other things, Christians sort of
would be like
more collectively land.
Yes. Well, like particularly within the version of evangelicalism we would sit in, we wouldn't even at least. In the seat that I'm in, most people would not question that. They would just say, yeah, I'm just going to ask for forgiveness rather than permission. Like, I just can't do that. That's just too hard or whatever.
To be nonviolent.
To be, or to be like, to have like monogamy or wait till marriage till you have sex, or like to be extra generous with your money, or to not be gluttonous with your food or whatever.
Yeah, you'd acknowledge that the choice against that is a choice against that. Yes. That it's not like, oh, this could be the Jesus way.
Yes.
Resisting this.
Yeah. No, I think most people would say, oh, like not being gluttonous or hoarding your money is not the Jesus way, but it's just too hard. So I'm just going to ask for forgiveness rather than live the way. But violence, we don't do that with. And partially because I think, at least within American Western culture, we have a glorification of violence that is terrifying. Right? And I think sometimes it's out of our desire, and everyone will be offended by this, I think. And so if you are, I'm sorry, but I think this is just true, that we actually really like our violence because it lets us stay in control. If I can act violently, at any point in time, I can still get the outcome that I want, rather than actually submit to an outcome that I might not desire. but that which God is going to resurrect. Which is the Christian life, you know? And I think that violence is that final form of submitting our wills to God.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you can stay tuned for all of our content.